Hello from down under, folks. We're in Sydney in the Qantas 747. This is their now out of service Wunala Dreaming livery. Doing a quick short hop today in the 747 from Sydney to Melbourne. Passenger loading has just started, and you can see the baggage carts arriving. So while that's going on, let me very quickly walk you through our flight plan for the morning. Okay, so we're going to be flying the 747-400 using GE engines. And our trip fuel today is 21,650 pounds with a trip time of 1 hour 5 minutes. And our alternate should we need it is Avalon. And we're going to be releasing from Sydney with 40,512 pounds of fuel on board. So we're on the east coast of Australia in Sydney. We're going to be taking off, then turning out over the ocean on the Marib 6 departure, turning back to fly direct to Wollongong, and then 865 to Rozzy, Q29 to Lizzie, and then via the Lizzie 8 Alpha arrival into Melbourne. Should be a really nice flight this morning. And looks like they finished loading the baggage. Let's check on the passengers here. Looks like that's complete as well. Okay, pre-flight checklist, please. Pre-flight checklist, please.
Pre-flight checklist. Oxygen.
Tested 100%.
Tested 100%. Flight instruments.
Heading 245. Altimeter 1024.
Heading 245. Altimeter 1024. Parking brake.
Set.
Fuel control switches.
Cut off.
Pre-flight checklist complete.
Okay, let's go ahead and do our departure brief. Are you ready for the departure brief?
I'm ready.
Okay, this is going to be a standard left seat takeoff with flaps 20 degrees and D-rated takeoff thrust off of runway 34 right. V1 is 117, will rotate at 121, and V2 is 139 knots. Takeoff trim is 4.6 units. Sydney weather, wind is 300 at 8 knots. Ceilings and visibility okay. Temperature 16, dew point 10, and QNH 1024. And let's brief our taxi route here. We're located at Gate 9 of the International Terminal. We're going to be pushing back, and then ATC will probably clear us to taxi to 34 right. It's going to be a pretty long taxi. They're going to clear us to taxi 34 right, likely via Alpha, across 34 left at Golf, then down on Bravo, Bravo to Lima, Lima to Tango, and then all the way down on Tango, Tango 6, and hold short of 34 right for departure. During the departure, for any malfunctions before V1, such as engine failure, fire, loss of control, aircraft unsafe to fly, I will call stop, stop to reject the takeoff, apply maximum braking, exit off the runway if able, and we will advise ATC. For any malfunctions after V1, we will continue the takeoff and consider it an in-flight emergency. I will handle the controls and advise ATC, and you back me up with the appropriate QRH procedures and checklist. Assuming everything goes okay on the departure, we will be departing via the Marib 6 departure this morning. RNAV departure with the restriction that the maximum IAS is 250 knots below 10,000. So initial climb procedure, caution that there is parallel runway operations on 34 left as well, so we cannot turn left. We'll be tracking 335, and at 500 feet we're going to be turning right to intercept and track heading 075 to Marib, and then we'll be following the transition instructions. So at Marib we'll be continue tracking on 075 and expect radar vectors to the cleared route. Once ATC clears us, we're actually, correction, that's for the radar transition. Disregard all that. So once we get to Marib for the Wollongong transition, at Marib we're going to turn right to track 144. After passing 10,000, we're going to turn right, tracking direct to the Wollongong NDB, and then it's cleared. And that's it for the departure brief. Any questions?
No questions. Here's a load sheet for you.
Thanks. Nice morning in Sydney. And love that retro 737 Qantas livery, that airplane that's passing by on the right. We're getting ready to depart, so let me go ahead and fast forward.
Passengers are seated.
Thanks, it will be a short taxi.
Thanks.
Or a
see you
long
up
taxi,
there.
actually. So used to saying short taxi, but this is going to be a really long taxi down at 34 right. Cockpit to ground. Actually, wait a second, I need to go to flight. Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
Can we pressurize the hydraulics?
Roger, you're good to pressurize the hydraulics.
Thank you. Before start procedure.
Hey, are we clear to pressurize?
Yes.
Okay.
Cabin crew arm slides and cross check.
Cabin crew slides.
I'm ready for the checklist.
Before start checklist, please.
Before start checklist. Flight deck door closed and locked. Passenger signs set. MCP.
Roll that down at 335. Okay. V1 117, heading 335, altitude 4,000.
Takeoff speeds.
V1 117, VR 121, V2 139er. V2 139er.
CDU pre-flight.
Completed.
Completed. Trim.
Let me make sure I set that. .6 units, 0 and 0.
Taxi and takeoff briefing.
Completed.
Beacon. Both. Before start checklist complete.
Okay, we're going to push back here using GSX quick edit feature. So prepare for pushback and departure. And let's do quick edit pushback. Okay, that looks like a good place. Start engines before pushback? No. Start sequence is 4 and 3, then 2 and 1.
Check.
As the pushback truck pulls up there.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback. Locking gear. Departure check completed. Bypass pin inserted. Release parking brakes.
Okay, let's start the clock. And parking brakes released.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
Let's wait a couple of seconds here. Start engines 4 and 3.
Starting 4 and 3.
Pulls the start switches there. Both lit up. Okay. And fuel cutoff switches to run for 4 and 3. N2 is rising, EGT is rising. Oil pressure showing. And once again, since the new update, GSX is running real nice, especially with this new visual quick edit feature. It's the closest thing to better pushback from X-Plane that you can get in P3D at the moment, and it does work real nice. Really do like it. This, by the way, is Flytampa's Sydney Airport. It's been on the market for a number of years now, I think, but it still looks really good. And I have modified it with the GSX Level 2 jetways here, so I have that. Of course, the city of Sydney, very prominent. The Sydney skyline from the airport here. Okay, we're going to set our parking brakes now that the pushback is complete. And let's see. Engines have started, so we're going to start 2 and 1. Start engines 2 and 1. Start engines 2 and 1.
Starting 2 and 1.
Alright, start switches are on, lights are on. Let's go ahead and put the fuel control switches to run for 2 and 1. Okay, oil pressure indicating. EGT is rising and 2 is rising.
Bypass pin removed. Left is clear. Right is clear.
Clear. Ground equipment is clear at the moment. I'll take a moment for the pushback signal to hop on the truck there, and for the truck to then move away. Alright, it looks like the starter switches start is complete. Alright, and we can go ahead and call for the before taxi procedure.
Roger.
While that's going on, let's do our flight controls check. Full left, full right, neutral, full up, full down, neutral. And full left on the rudder, full right on the rudder, and pedals neutral. Okay. Before taxi checklist, please.
Before taxi checklist. Anti-ice.
Off.
Recall. Checked. Auto brake. RTO. Flight controls.
Checked.
Ground equipment.
Clear.
Clear. Before taxi checklist complete.
Okay, we're clear left. Clear on the left.
Clear right.
Parking brakes have been released.
Check.
And let's go ahead and get started here. And we're going to taxi down Alpha to Golf and then cross runway 34 left at Golf. Alright, this is Alpha. We're going to turn right on Alpha.
Check speed.
Really underweight this morning, so this will take a whole lot of thrust to get us really moving. Okay, this is Golf, so we're gonna hold short of 34 left here. Check that it's clear before we cross. Okay, clear left, and looks like it's clear right as well. Strobes on. Strobe lights on. Looks like I'm going to have to do this by hand. Okay, turn on the strobes while we cross an active runway. Okay, once we're across, we can go strobes off. And because we're flying this very large aircraft, that's about, I don't know, maybe about 200 foot long, and we're going to hold short of 2.5 here as well, and wait for it to get clear before we taxi across. And because we're dragging this incredibly long body behind us, this airframe, you got to make sure you take your turns really carefully, especially those 90-degree turns on these taxiways, and ensure you're not accidentally rolling those large main wheels over the grass or the taxi lights or something like that. Okay, looks like we're more or less clear to cross here, so let's go ahead and do that. Once again, strobes on, crossing an active runway.
Approaching 07.
And we are on Bravo at the moment. We're going all the way down to Lima.
Check speed.
Once again, got to be careful with that thrust there. Okay, strobes off. Whoops. Whoa. Got a little too fancy with the Chaseplane view changing there. And again, this is really nice scenery from Flytampa. You can see they've modeled the roadway that goes under the taxiway here. It's really cool. Pretty nice view. Air New Zealand. Nice touchdown there. And it looks like Air Canada is probably going to go around, or Asiana is probably going around. There he goes. Okay, we're going to go ahead and line up here on 34 right. Runway entry procedure.
Roger.
Approaching 34 right.
I'm ready to go.
Clear left.
Clear right.
On runway 34 right.
And that voice you hear, of course, is the ROS system. Comes packaged with the FS2 crew for the PMDG 747. Okay, we're ready to go. Takeoff.
Check.
Get our throttles up to 40% N1 and then press toga. Thrust ref.
Check. knots, thrust set.
Checked.
V1.
Rotate. Positive rate.
Gear up. And again,
Gear
we're
up.
incredibly light today, so you see how fast we accelerated to V2 there. Okay, we're past 500 feet. We're going to start our turn to Marib. Flaps 10.
Speed checked. Flaps 10.
Autopilot.
Flaps 10. Green check.
Flaps 5.
Speed checked. Flaps 5.
Flaps 1.
Flaps 5. Green. Speed checked. Flaps 1.
And we'll roll our altitude up to, let's say 17,000 for now. Flaps up. Flaps up.
Flaps up.
Beautiful morning departure from Sydney
Flaps
here.
up.
After takeoff checklist.
After takeoff checklist. Landing gear. Up and off. Flaps up. After takeoff checklist complete.
And we are really rocketing up right now. So for those of you who are asking, no, the 747 is typically not used on domestic routes, at least as far as I know, for these short hops from Sydney to Melbourne. What's really going on here is that this is, so you notice we departed from the international terminal. So what's really going on here typically is that this is a long haul route from, you know, God only knows where. It could be from North America, LAX or SFO or Vancouver or something. And essentially what it is a continuing flight from LAX to Sydney and then onward to Melbourne. So the idea is to transport those passengers from LAX or SFO to Melbourne. At least that's my theory. Go for it.
Cool.
Set standard.
Standard set.
Just passed our transition altitude of 10,000 feet. And let's roll our altitude in the autopilot and the MCP here all the way up to flight level 400, which is our cruising altitude. And it looks like we have about 11 minutes or so to go to our, and 77 nautical miles to go to reach our top of climb, flight level 400. Pretty cool.
Check.
And this is a beautiful special livery. Really do like it. You see those fantastic PBR effects there that PMDG has modeled on the 747? I cannot wait till they do that for the 777 and the 737. Although I hear they're coming out with an NGX version 3 at some point. We'll have to see what the timing on that is. I've learned that with PMDG, when they announced they're going to be releasing, or they announced that they're working on a new aircraft, you got to anticipate a very, very long time before that actually gets released. Whatever you're thinking, multiply it by 2 or 3 for that matter. Takes a while, but they do tend to get them right. Very few problems typically with these, with their releases. They do a pretty good job of working out all the bugs. And they also do a good job, like you can tell with the PBR here, of keeping the airplanes up to date. Beautiful aircraft. Oh, what is this doing? You know what, let me just go direct to Wollongong here. Just to avoid any unnecessary confusion. There we go. Nice view of the suburbs of Sydney and Sydney Airport down there. 1,000 to go. Checked. Okay, we've reached our cruising altitude, flight level 400. Anticipating we're going to be arriving at Melbourne at 2312 Zulu with 15,800 pounds of fuel on board. Optimal flight level is still showing at 415. So we could, if we want, actually climb up to flight level 420. In fact, I think I will. It's fun usually when you get the opportunity to climb up that high, especially since we have a bit of a headwind here, so it might actually help a little bit. So let's go ahead and do that. Change our cruising flight level to flight level 420. And I'm going to roll our altitude window, or our altitude setting on the MCP here up to 420 and click execute. And we're climbing up to our final cruising flight level 420.
To go.
Checked. All right, flight level 420, cruise altitude here. And we're going to be reaching our top of descent in about 20 minutes time, actually. About 180 nautical miles to go to our top of descent. And we're going to be arriving at Melbourne now with 15,600 pounds of fuel on board. So relax, settle in for the cruise, and I'll go ahead and activate Chaseplane's cinematic camera views here to give you some nice views of our cruise, and I'll talk to you again in a few minutes once we get close to our top of descent. Okay, so we're coming up on our top of descent point in about 9 minutes here. So I'm going to go ahead and have the co-pilot take over control and start setting up the FMS for the arrival and set up our V-speeds, etc. You have control.
I have control.
Descent procedure.
Stand by.
And that has the co-pilot do his descent flow. And while that's going on, I'm going to go ahead and do the approach brief while we're at it. Are you ready for the approach brief?
Go for it, mate.
Destination station weather YMML. Okay, Melbourne airport winds are 200 at 8 knots. Visibly unlimited, few clouds at 1,200. Ceiling's broken at 1,600 and broken at 2,000. So actually it is kind of, weather's not that great. Temperature 12, dew point 10, QNH 1020. So I'm going to set that. Okay. And we're going to be arriving via the Lizzie 8 Alpha arrival, so let's brief that chart real quick. Okay, from Lizzie, we're going to be tracking on heading 222 to Vipud, and we're crossing Vipud at or below 9,000. Then on to Axid, at or below 230 knots, or at 230 knots, correction. Then on to Gula at or about 4,000. Bolte, Acdil, and at Acdil it's a maximum of 185 knots. Once we reach Acdil, we're going to be intercepting the RNAV Zulu runway 34 approach. And let's brief this approach plate real quick. So RNAV Zulu runway 34. It's an RNAV approach. Final approach course is 340, and the final approach fix, Bosky, will be crossed at 1,650 feet. Decision altitude in LNAV and VNAV is 690 feet. Airport elevation 434 feet. If we need to go missed, I'm going to call go around flaps 20. The missed approach procedure is to track direct to the Milch intersection, thence 340 degrees, climb to 4,000 feet, or as directed by ATC. Our VREF today is going to be 135 knots, approach speed 140 knots, and we're going to do a flaps 30 landing. Auto brake setting is going to be 2. The taxi route in, once we land on 3-4, is going to be via Foxtrot, Tango, to the international terminal. And that's it on the approach brief. Any questions?
None.
Descent checklist.
Descent checklist. Recall checked. Auto brake.
Level 2.
Landing data.
VREF 135, minimums 690 feet.
VREF 135, minimums 0 feet. Approach briefing.
Completed.
Descent checklist complete.
And I've rolled our altitude window in the MCP down to 4,000 feet since we've been cleared to descend via the Lizzie 8 Alpha arrival. Got about 8 miles to go to top of descent. Okay, top of descent point, throttle's idle, and we've initiated our descent. And we're going to be on the ground here in about 25 minutes or so.
Qantas 737, passing 617 on descent, travelling 5 miles, just to the right of 12 kilometres. 7270 Lima taxi, we'll be descending shortly. Climb to 8,000, maintain a separation with the Qantas traffic.
right, so, I just realized something. I was trying to use historical weather for this flight, and I actually had the wrong date set, so I just reset that date, and so I'm going to get the revised weather for Melbourne. I was really trying to fly in on a pretty clear day, so you could see Melbourne City in the Orbx Australia version 2 on this arrival, so let's get the weather once again and brief that. Okay, destination station weather, and that's what I was looking for. Okay, so Melbourne weather, 010 at 16 knots. Ceilings and visibility okay. Temperature 21, dew point 04. QNH is actually 1018, so let's set that in the backup. And then from 2300, which is going to be in the next couple of minutes or so, the winds are going to start getting pretty gusty. So then it's 360 at 20, gusting to 3 knots, and ceilings visibility okay once again. Moderate turbulence below 5,000, so it'll get pretty interesting on the approach. We're going to bump up our reapproach to plus 10, so it's going to be 145 knots. Actually, sorry, hold on 1 second. So we're going to go all the way up to VRF plus 15, actually, to accommodate the gust. So it's going to be about between 145 to 115 knots on the approach speed. We'll play it by ear as we get closer. Okay, that's it. And I was able, by the way, to access the live ATC recordings as well from this particular date. Just discovered this pretty neat feature that lets you play back live ATC recordings from within the past 24 hours or so from any given station. So at least the radio chatter in the background lends some ambience and makes things feel a bit more alive on this flight. Okay, descending to flight level 177, and we'll reset at our transition level, flight level 100. Nice view of the Marysville State Forest over there. Actually, never mind, that's Lake Eldon National Park up there. And that's Lake Eldon. Or Eildon, or however you pronounce it, down under.
has cruised on Yankee and hold short of Alpha. What is 407 over there? What, yeah, great. Right, there's 408.
Okay, we're approaching our transition altitude and slowing to 240 knots below 10,000.
Copy, runway 18 is from Melbourne. Just pick up. Let's pick that off. And stay, just pick that off. This one, yeah, pretty close.
Just gonna check the weather once again. Hasn't really changed. Still 010 at 16 knots. And you can see the suburbs of Melbourne in the distance.
Transition 10,000.
1018 set.
One
1018 set and cross-checked. Approach checklist, please.
Altimeters
1018 set.
1018 set. Operate checklist complete.
0 degrees, 18. Out of 2,500 clear, the GLS runway 34 phone.
Rolling our altitude in the FCP down to 2,500.
10 down, it's going from 017, just pick that off.
And you can see downtown Melbourne up ahead. Going to come in right over the city. It'll be pretty nice to see. And you can see Melbourne International Airport over there. And we're going to be coming in to land on 34, which is a runway that appears perpendicular to us. Slow into 230 knots, crossing exit.
123.55,
Beautiful view. Downtown Melbourne up ahead. Orbx did a fantastic job modeling this. I think it's certainly made version 2 of Orbx Australia worth getting. Just the cityscape alone, to be honest. Beautiful. Sports stadiums down there. Downtown Melbourne. And you can see our shadow over the city just behind our port wing there. Pretty cool. Gonna roll our speed down to 180. Actually, hold on 1 second. Flaps 1.
Speed checked. Flaps 1.
Don't want to get too distracted by the sights that we lose track of our altitude and speed restrictions here.
Flaps 1. Green. 1 to go.
Flaps 5.
Speed checked. Flaps 5.
G'day, Qantas flight level 240. Departures, g'day. Cancel speed.
Flaps 5. Green.
As long as you can. Descend to 2,500, clear down to Zulu runway 34 touch.
Flaps 10.
Speed checked. Flaps 10.
Going to roll our altitude selection MCP down to 690 feet,
Flaps
which is our
10,
MDA.
green.
5 up to 8 off wind runway 18, is that still acceptable?
And once we get
2500.
close, maybe about 6, once we get down to our MDA or so, what we're going to, or actually once we get down to maybe about 1,000 feet, we're going to disconnect the autopilot, disconnect the auto throttle, and fly it in manually.
Radio altimeter alive.
Okay, speed down to 14.
Descent rate.
145. Gear down.
Gear down.
Flaps 20.
Speed checked. Flaps 20.
It looks like those gusty winds are kicking in now, so I'm gonna bump it up to 150. Flaps 30.
Flaps 20. Green.
Actually, let's keep it at 145.
Checked.
Landing checklist.
Check the landing flaps. The speed
Flaps
brake
30.
is not armed. Speed checked. Flaps 30.
And arm the speed brake.
Flaps 30, green.
Landing checklist.
Speed brake.
Armed.
Landing gear.
Down.
Flaps.
Flaps 30.
Landing checklist complete. 1,000 feet.
Visual.
Check.
Landing.
Check.
Okay, I'm gonna disconnect the
Marketing 040.
1,000.
hold on 1 second.
Approaching 34.
Gonna disconnect the autopilot and the auto thrust. Oops.
Check.
It is very, very
500
gusty
feet,
and turbulent today.
Car 79, thanks for plugging ready.
This is gonna be an interesting landing, to say the least. Okay, and flight director off.
Now at Avalon, expected runway 36, the wind 250 degrees to 330 degrees, 8 knots. With max
Approaching
crossing 1
minimums.
knots and occasional max tail with 3 knots. Temperature 26 and amend the QNH on 017.
Minimums.
Continue.
Check.
Visual.
Check.
Landing.
Check.
Boy, we're getting low.
635.57, final 8,000.
50. 30.
7337, clock flight 200.
Speed brakes up. Reverse green.
Squawk
80 knots.
Auto brakes.
Manual braking.
60 knots.
Okay, we're gonna exit here on Foxtrot. And we're going to stop here and quickly run a replay. Let's take a look at what that looked like from the external view. Certainly wasn't my best landing, but we'll take a look.
Bird, heading 270.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and call for our after landing procedure. After landing procedure.
Check.
79 Monte ground.
And we're going to be turning right on Tango up ahead and taxiing to gate Delta 10.
Park is approved. It's no uniform 0, tail west. For Juliet to the bay, just give way to the Singapore, your feet to your right, pushing back into uniform. Delta 4 to the bay and
It's right next to this Emirates A380 here. There it is. The only question is, do we have enough room? Oh well. Que sera, sera. Lights and doors.
Cabin crew, please disarm the doors and cross-check.
Well done, thank you. Just after 33,
I really do like the new GSX Marshaller models. They look a lot more true to real life. There we go. Okay. Let's go ahead and set the parking brake. Parking brake is set.
Check.
Ensure the taxi light is off. It is.
29 in the bay.
And I'm going to command shutdown procedure.
That's 29 extra.
Shutdown procedure.
Check.
Not at 99 monitor ground.
Ready for shutdown, but check the power source, mate.
Okay, we'll gauge external power 1 and 2.
Captain, the GPU is connected.
Okay, we're ready for shutdown. Let's put our fuel control switches to cutoff. 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Alpha level 240, right through 1609. Berlin, ground g'day, taxi Alpha, Yankee.
Chuck's holding.
Check.
Taxi Alpha, Yankee,
And he's going to go through his procedure here. And I'm going to start the boarding process.
United 99 ground, g'day. Give way to a Tiger 8320, just passing south behind you now, and then push back approved.
Cabin crew, disarm doors and cross-check.
Okay, clear to push at Delta 20. Disconnect Tango 9 tail east after we give way to Tiger southbound mid-abandonment.
We'll see some 33 monitor ground.
Package handling complete when the aircraft is clear.
Shutdown checklist.
Shutdown checklist. Hydraulic panel set. Fuel pumps off. Flaps up. Parking brake.
Set.
Fuel control switches.
Cut off.
Weather radar
Off.
off. Shutdown checklist complete.
And we're going to turn off the clock and reset it.
Core climate flight level 240 direct course.
Oh, jetway still moves, that's good. And surprisingly, there was enough clearance for our wings here. Didn't hit either the terminal building or the Emirates A330 that's parked off to our left there. Nice. Okay, very cool. Alright, well hey, thank you all for watching. This was a very quick short hop in the Qantas 747, this beautiful Wunala Dreaming livery that was retired by Qantas a while back on this short quick hop from Sydney to Melbourne. So again, thanks for watching. You take care, have a great one.
Apollo 240, 6 level 360. Kenny from 42, next back to Army, we're going to that, just 436.